Get ready for a soulful journey that will leave you feeling aligned, empowered, and deeply connected to your inner light. As we welcome Nicole Miranda, Miss Hawaii, and I'll let you pronounce that because I'm sure it's a lot better than me, United USA 2025 to the Royal Buzz podcast. Hi, I'm your host, Trina Myers, Miss Elite United USA, the Zebra Queen, Legacy Maker, CEO of Rare Wish, and Queen Bee of Creative Marketing Agency. And today I have a special guest with me. Welcome, Nicole.
Aloha. Thanks for the welcome. I'm Nicole Miranda. I'm Ms. Hawaii. I just won in June, and I'm also a wellness entrepreneur. I launched a business earlier this year called 6 Degree Soul. I lead island tours, I teach yoga, and I'm also writing a book.
And there was one other thing that I thought was interesting that you can add to that was you were also the pizza queen.
I was previously the pizza queen, 3-time champion. I won 3 pizza 5Ks. I know most people don't even know what that means, but that is one of my claims to fame.
Yes, I had never heard of that. So when I saw your bio, I thought, oh, that is so much fun. So I can't wait to hear a little bit more about it.
Would
So
love to share.
I'm sure there's a great story with that. So thank you again for joining the Royal Buzz, your go-to podcast that's buzzworthy on pageantry, advocacy, and positivity, where Hive meets Hive. Listen to the magic, one story at a time. Today, we promise you'll leave feeling aligned, empowered, and deeply connected to your inner light. So today, we are going to talk about crowning your inner peace, pageantry, energy healing, and the power of meditation with Miss Hawaii United USA 2025, Nicole. So thank you, Nicole, again. Thank you for being on the podcast today. I was so excited when I heard about your state pageant coming on board at the United USA National System. And then when I saw your post on social media announcing you as the state title holder for Hawaii, I just was so thrilled and immediately reached out to you to welcome you to the sisterhood and, wanted to snatch you up quick to get you on this. I can't wait to hear all about your experiences at the state pageant. But first, we want to get to know a little bit more about you. So tell us about yourself. I know you gave us a little preview there, and this might be an opportunity to tell a little bit more about the story of the Pizza Queen. But I also want to know about your pageant journey. Like, how long have you been competing in pageants and what got you interested?
Yeah, so thanks again for having me. I really appreciate it, and it's great to be here. I was not a pageant girl until this year. This is a new journey for me.
Nice.
Very new. I was previously a sales director until 2 years ago. I guess you would say retired from that position. It was very soul sucking and draining me, and I've embarked on a really deep path of spirituality, soul searching, finding myself, trusting my own intuition over the last year and a half, 2 years. Hawaii itself has been a huge catalyst for change. I've actually only lived out here for 3 years, but it's the first place that spoke to my heart and soul and completely changed my life for the better. So I got my 200-hour yoga teacher certification in Bali last March. And that was a very life changing, transformative experience for me. I learned a lot about myself. I healed a lot. I learned that yoga is much more than just a physical practice. It's a path to spirituality. It's the balance of the body, mind, and soul. And through that, I've really been able to find peace and self love. And I've been on this journey of stepping more into my divine feminine. I was previously in a lot of male dominated industries. I was type A, cross country athlete, soccer player growing up. I worked in the automotive industry. I sold advertising. So I've made a big shift to softening on myself, really finding a balance within between my masculine and feminine. I believe we all have that, and having the
Yeah.
balance between the two is what really creates a well-balanced human that is aligned and can create in the world. And now, as I've stepped more into my feminine side, I'm finding that I'm drawing in a lot more instead of pushing, rushing, forcing the way I was the majority of my life. So, that being said, I decided last year at my yoga program I was going to write a book. So, I'm sharing my story of transformation from being an overwhelmed corporate sales director to being in a very high pressure environment, to softening on myself, to listening to my intuition, to incorporating holistic health practices. I don't drink anymore. I'm fully sober. So, I really embrace taking care of my body, and that aligns with, your mind and your soul, and then you're able to just live a very balanced, peaceful life, which I finally do. And I can't say it was always that way. So, as far as the pizza queen thing, it is a funny story. I was a cross country athlete in high school and college, and then I ran competitively throughout most of my 20s. I ran a bunch of races. I ran one full marathon, and then I always loved pizza. I'm originally from New York.
Nice.
So, I always loved pizza, and all my friends knew me as the pizza girl. So there was this race a few years ago that was the Pizza 5K.
Oh,
And basically, you consume a slice 5 minutes before the start of the 5K. Then the gun goes off, you run the first mile and a half, you stop, you consume another slice at the pizza station. You have to fully finish that slice before you can move on and complete the rest of the 5K. And yeah, I won that race 3 years in a row. So I was actually crowned the pizza queen 3 times in a row.
that sounds like a lot of fun. And I would think the pizza would help give you that extra boost to finish that race, instead of bogging you down.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I almost threw up. I mean, but it was the combination of two of my really big passions at the time. I love pizza and I love running. So it was really cool to win that title. And they actually did like a full coronation ceremony. I have a certificate, I have a crown for that. So it's funny that years later, I fell into this pageantry journey that was not actually, I wouldn't say it was ever an aspiration I had on my radar. It's something that came to me when I've been feeling very aligned and very in my on my path and in my purpose now. So earlier this year, I started a tour business called 6 Degree Soul, and it's all about curating amazing experiences for visitors that come to the island because it's been, again, such a beautiful part of my life. I've really gotten in tune with nature and being surrounded by, I'm looking out my window because I'm fully surrounded by the ocean. I live in my dream
Nice.
apartment across from the beach, and I've tapped into this side of myself that's, again, a more spiritual component. It's a lot about the unseen and having faith, and I've been able to manifest and create the life of my dreams out here. So I really want to help other people do the same. And that's what my business is all about, just sharing the magic and the Aloha spirit, welcoming people. And really, everyone that comes and tours with me, they're like, this is the best time. And I'm like, how can it not be? We're in paradise. It's beautiful. I'm so happy. I'm just sharing, the magic of my everyday life and the beauty. So,
Oh, well, I'll know who to contact when I get my opportunity to come to Hawaii.
yes,
I have
please.
never been.
Oh my gosh. I may be biased, but it's the most beautiful place in the world. It's really, really special. We call it mana, which is energy here in Hawaii, and there's really good mana. If you take care of the land, it takes care of you. So it's a very like symbiotic relationship between the people and the culture. And I've really embraced all of that since I've come out here, and it's really served me well. So I love sharing that gift. I'm also writing a book, sharing my story of transformation, like I said, from being really stressed out and really overdoing it. And yes, I had a lot of great things on paper. I had money, success, a great title, lots of friends, but I felt very unfulfilled on the inside for a long time. And until I tapped into, again, really trusting myself and following my own path, which is now this, I'm writing my book, I'm sharing my story, I'm sharing yoga, which the Western world, like us in the US and most of the Western world, doesn't really know the true path of yoga and where it comes from and the philosophy and the mantras and all of that. So that's been a big part of my journey is just slowing down and having more patience to my and listening to my soul rather than just what society's telling me to do, right?
Sounds like a lot of corporate America. I've been there, been through that as well, and found myself in a burnout. So it sounds like a very similar journey.
Yeah, I was struggling for a long time really with my mental health and I thought kind of, well, I have it all. What's wrong? But it just I was living a life that society showed me should make me happy, not what I really wanted to be doing. So once I got to Hawaii, I was really able to reset, just kind of calibrate. I took a sabbatical for about a year and I went on this soul searching travel journey. I went to Bali. I got my certification there for teaching yoga and it just completely I learned more about myself in those 3 weeks than I had in 35 years.
Wow.
So it's been a big part about now how I carry my life and how I share the gifts and the magic that yoga and Hawaii's brought to me. So I share that through my book that'll be done at the end of this year. I share that through my tours. And then, of course, I'm also teaching yoga. I hold full moon workshops and manifesting workshops. So that's really my big passion right now.
So let's take a step back. Those are some amazing things, and what a great journey. And we'll dive down a little bit deeper into that in just a minute. So tell us, how did you prepare for your state pageant, and what was the favorite part of the competition?
So my favorite part was actually the interview. Having been in sales for most of my life, I'm used to speaking to people and I enjoy that aspect. So I viewed the pageant as kind of a way of selling myself, who I am, all the deep soul work that I've done to find peace and really live a life full of passion and purpose that's aligned with who I am at my core. And I want to share that gift with other people. So I viewed going on stage as, a showcase of me stepping into my divine feminine, really understanding who I am and sharing those gifts and being able to serve as an example for other people. So, really sharing my story was my favorite aspect of it. As far as like heels and makeup and dressing up, that's not something I do so often anymore. I've
Mhm.
really found a lot of peace in honestly being barefoot and walking the beach and
Oh,
not
I'm
putting
sure.
yeah, very grounding and not really dressing up as much. Like I feel good in bright colors, which is why I'm in my pink dress. I
Yes,
love
I love the pink.
Thank you. And so for me, the aspect of getting ready for the pageant was definitely the fact that I got to have a platform to share, like I said, all of this stuff that I think is really incorporated in the Eastern world. And I believe in merging the two. That's how I was trained in yoga is, hey, we're not saying like modern day America doesn't have it right. Like, we do have a lot of things figured out. But I think that the Western world is very prone to financial wealth, whereas the Eastern world is really prone to spiritual wealth. And why can't we merge those two things? And that's what I believe that I stand for. And for me, the pageant was something that fell into my lap actually right after I got back from Bali again earlier this year. It came to me, somebody nominated me, and I was like, you know what? Why not? And I decided to give it a shot. And it was a lot more challenging than I expected, but it challenged me to grow and also stay grounded in the things that I've learned and practiced over the last year.
Okay, there it goes. Sorry.
That's
The
okay.
phone in the background went off, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how do I stop? Put me on mute. I did not see that.
No
Oh goodness.
worries.
It's I have a house full today, and like I said, I'm in my little corner in the living room, so I'll try to edit as best as I can. But you know what? That's life, right? We have to just adapt and go with the flow.
Exactly. And that is something that I've learned over the last year and a half. I was very rigid previously in my, being an athlete, being an honor student, being a sales manager. It's very different than the way I live my life now. So I can relate.
Yeah. So tell me, Nicole, what is one thing that you're looking forward to at the national competition in June of 2026?
I think again, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to is being able to share my story because I've been on a journey of self discovery that when I share this with my friends back on the mainland, they're not privy to a lot of the things that I'm doing, the manifesting, the yoga, the aligning with your soul. It's kind of like, oh, there's no other way. This is what's charted out for me. Once you get into a career, you keep doing this. And I would say, even as far as joining pageantry at age 38, I'm an outlier with that, right? I believe that we can change and create our life at any time that we want, however we
Absolutely.
want to.
Yeah.
And that's what I really want to share. I'm looking forward to sharing my story, sharing my journey, sharing the things that I've learned, and bringing some of this stuff that's maybe a little woo woo and a lot of Hawaii people are used to,
Mhm.
bringing it a little more mainstream to other people in the US. Because I lived on the East Coast actually most of my life before Hawaii. So it's very, very different. The practices, the way I go about my daily life, the way I now view success, for example, is very different than what I used to tie a lot of my, energy to. And I want to share all the magic that I've brought into my life just through actually easing up on myself and not really trying as hard and really just aligning with who I am. And then the universe delivers. And this pageant being a perfect example of that. Again, it came to me and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'm looking to get more in the spotlight, share my book, share again, all the special, I don't want to call it secrets because it's not really secrets, but it's a lot of things that we're not taught in school.
Sure. And everybody has their own, secret skill, secret sauce. And you and I both have been in alignment with sales, but what you've taught could be different than the way I've been taught. And so by sharing your experience, I think that there's always somebody out there that can learn from you.
Absolutely.
And my guess is probably at the end of nationals, you're probably going to be looking forward to a slice of pizza, right?
Always looking forward to a slice of pizza.
It's really funny is every competition I have been in, and afterwards seeing several of the girls, just eating pizza or hamburgers or the junk food that they wouldn't have been eating to train for competition. And I don't know if you're like this, but I eat pretty clean throughout my whole life. It's my lifestyle. So I get joy out of watching others
Yeah.
eating the junk food because I can't have it. I'm not going to go down that road even after a competition.
I do have a sweet tooth actually, and I do love pizza. I was raised in New York, so I was raised on Italian food, pizza, bagels, pasta.
That
I
sounds
actually
wonderful.
I didn't eat that healthy growing up. So for me, again, these last few years, I've made radical change. Like I took a whole 180 at age 36. I just was like, I'm not doing the sales career anymore. It's burning me out. I don't feel like myself anymore. I started eating clean. Like I said, I stopped drinking. So now my life is all about, and I could see how much that was all really affecting me besides the stress of my career, but I wasn't taking good care of my body because I was always thin and I always worked out a lot. So it wasn't really something I had to think about. But then when I realized you are what you eat, and if you're putting clean food in your body, your mind is clear. I've been on, again, a much deeper path with following more of like a yogic diet. So I do still like to treat myself to some pizza and ice cream, though.
Nice. Well, I'll be right there alongside you watching you eat it.
Awesome.
So, I want to take a little bit deeper dive into your platform, which is all about helping women listen to their intuition, figuring out what they really want, and going after a life that actually feels good and not just look good on paper. So, tell us a little bit more about that and how, if our listeners, our viewers, were interested in your story after hearing this, and they want to do a little bit deeper dive and do some self reflection, self love, how would they go about doing that?
So, the way I initially started on kind of my spiritual journey, I would say, was through journaling. And I didn't even know that at the time, but start to journal. I think a lot of people don't do that, and that's a regular habit for me. And that allows you to hear your own thoughts, right? And get it out on paper. And then I got really into writing affirmations and things that I wanted in my life and just affirming them by saying them or reading them or writing them every day. Another practice for me that's been really, really empowering and has taught me a lot is I don't know if you're familiar with the book, The Secret.
Yeah.
It's by Rhonda Byrne, The Law of Attraction, right? And that was something that really spoke to me because I realized when I was really stressed out, I was creating more problems for myself. I was complaining a lot. I was thinking about and then overthinking. And the more you think about that, energy is a huge thing that I've learned about that I knew nothing about before really the last year or two. And what we think, our thoughts create our reality. So if you're thinking, I'm stressed, I'm tired, I'm burnt out, you're just going to draw more of that in. You're going to make your body believe that. And then that's the people and the surroundings that you're going to create. So as I've started practicing more gratitude, I have that as a daily practice. And the sequel to The Secret, I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. It's called The Magic. Do you know that book?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, amazing. So I love it. And a lot of people haven't heard of it. Actually, 2 years ago, I purchased it right when I had left corporate America, and I did the practices religiously. Every morning, I woke up, I felt into it, I was grateful. I wrote down 10 things I was grateful for. I tapped into those strong feelings of, love, gratitude, abundance. And I even put gratitude for things that I hadn't experienced yet. And I was magically able to manifest checks, this dream apartment that I'm now living in. I mean, this dream career that I now have, a crown on my head, all these things that I did through that practice. So that's the first thing. I think it's a really, really easy way for people to start trusting and having more faith in the unseen. That was a huge step on my journey, was practicing gratitude daily. I also believe that yoga is a great way to start learning, whether it's through taking a retreat or just getting on your mat and learning the practices. Yoga taught me a lot of self-love, compassion. It's the way you talk to yourself. It's the way you view other people as well in your life as a reflection of you. So, for example,
They
that's
say you gather around, to make sure that you're gathering around other like-minded individuals and people that are going to lift you up instead of pulling you down.
exactly. They say too, yeah, you're the sum of the five people you surround yourself
Yes.
with. When I moved to Hawaii, I was able to recreate my friend circle too. I really created my whole life. I said, I don't want to drink anymore. I want to be active. I want to be around other like-minded people that have healthy habits. And that's how I set up my life here. So I've been able to, again, kind of flip a switch and just make this dream a reality. And I feel so grateful to be here. I really do. It's hard not to be because it's so beautiful. Like you look outside, you're like, wow, there is so much beauty in the world. And that feeds onto a positive cycle where I'm putting gratitude out into the world, and then really even more amazing things are coming to me. So I love sharing that book. I tell a lot of people to bring a daily gratitude journaling practice into their studies. Learn about yourself through writing. Just, again, get off the phone.
Yeah.
I believe in social media detoxes. We're so doom scrolling all the time. We get roped up in whether it's a dating app or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok, and you're not giving yourself the time to think. People are afraid of their own thoughts because they don't know how to be silent. And in the silence is where don't get me wrong, it wasn't this way right away. I had to learn how to meditate. I had to learn how to quiet my mind. But in the silence, I've learned to find peace. I've learned to get channeled messages and listen to my own inner voice and my higher self. I think yoga, meditation, journaling, those are three ways to really tap into that and get out of, just constantly surrounding ourselves with other people and things and noise that clouds our own judgment of what we really want. And that's what I did for so long. I kept myself busy. I was at social events. I didn't have a second to myself. I didn't even know how to sit still. And, it's crazy because a year and a half ago, I couldn't meditate for more than 5 minutes. I literally didn't know how to sit there and be still. And
And that's probably very common amongst the average person.
right, the modern day society has this busy monkey mind, like we're always being stimulated. But I think a lot of people reach a point where they start to tap into yoga and these holistic practices and different ancient spiritual practices because we realized like, this was great for a time, but this isn't working for me anymore. I'm overwhelmed with my own thoughts, with my own, with everything. And we're not our thoughts. We create our reality. We're awareness, right? And meditation as well is a huge thing. Dr. Joe Dispenza, this is something I really, really want to share with the world. And I just got back from his retreat. Are you familiar with him at all?
I'm familiar, yes.
Okay, awesome. So for those who aren't, I'll share a little bit about him. He's actually a doctor that got into a really bad accident. He was doing a triathlon in the 80s and he got hit by a car on the bike and they thought he would never walk again. So his spine was destroyed and he was a chiropractor. So he was new neuroscience, but he also really believed in the mystical and tapping into the unseen realms and using visualization. So what he did, he opted out of not having the surgery for his back and he visualized his vertebrae being stacked because he knew, exactly how that had to look for him to walk. And he did that for 3 months and miraculously was able to walk 3 months later. And the doctors were shocked. And he's dedicated his life to, studying that and teaching other people how to combine the power of visualization, manifestation, going into the quantum field where infinite possibilities exist and tuning into the energy and drawing that in. So even more so, that's actually a big part of my pageant journey that I'd love to share. I was studying his stuff because you had to do all these prerequisites for the retreat. And the retreat I went to was 2 weeks after the pageant. So I was studying this as I was going along. So not only was I, picking out my dress and practicing my walk, I was meditating a lot. I was tuning into the frequency of me winning the title. I was going in the void, as they say, and letting go of who I was. And I'm like, if this is meant for me, let me perform. And I pictured myself, going on the stage. And I've never done this before. This was all brand new.
Well, I've actually done it myself. I'm leading into nationals for United US.
Yeah, I really was doing the visualization. And so you get it. So it was interesting how I was able to use these learnings and practice the meditation. I actually have, and I can send this to you. I have a picture, an AI photo I created of me winning Miss Hawaii 2 weeks before the show. And I was using that visual to really picture it and really have it on my altar, that I used for like my manifesting and my full moon stuff and where I have my energy and all of that. And it worked really well because I got on that stage and it ended up being easy and I loved it. And I thought I'd be nervous because I'd never stepped on a pageant stage before. I thought, yes, I've been in sales and I've sold to, maybe 10 people in a conference room, but I'd never stood on a stage in front of hundreds of people with a stuff. So that was a new venture. And honestly, I got up there and I felt so at ease. I loved it. I had visualized it. I had practiced it. I'd created this experience. So even a lot of my friends kind of joked when I actually got crowned, right, with the actual crown. I didn't have a big reaction on stage because for me, I had felt the emotions of winning a week before.
Already, yeah.
I had really been like, this had happened for me already. I cried at home meditating. I felt it. I felt like all the work I had done on myself to get here was being put forward. And I kind of already knew, like, it wasn't like, hey, I was better than anybody. I stepped into my power and I felt it and embodied it.
You were your authentic self.
Exactly. I really was. I had some ups and downs with the pageant where I was like, hey, these heels, this is not me anymore, I don't even think it's good for you to wear heels, if I'm being honest. Like, with the alignment and how you stand for yoga, there's so much different for your posture. But I was like, you know what? If this is my opportunity to share, then so be it. This is what the universe wanted for me. And yeah, obviously it worked out. And again, I just want other people to understand how powerful we are. My life is a testament to that. If you asked me 3 years ago, I thought my life was over. I was like stressed out, burnt out. I had a lot of physical and mental health issues, and I completely changed the game through yoga, meditation, finding myself, tuning into that. And now it's just more and more magic every day. Cool opportunities like this come to me. And I want people to know that they can do that. And it's all about listening to your inner voice, clearing out the noise.
Right. So if somebody wanted to tap into that and go on that soul searching themselves, what would you recommend to them?
Like I said, yoga, meditation, breath work, all these natural things that really align you with your soul and I think your higher self. That's how I got into it. It started very rudimentary. It was just me journaling, or it was just me doing gratitude. And then when I got on the yoga journey, that was what really taught me, hey, all of these behaviors and attitudes and beliefs and things I feel, they're learned. These are ingrained in you as a kid. These are things that you don't realize are in your subconscious. So tapping into your subconscious beliefs, take a yoga retreat, go on a meditation retreat, study Dr. Joe Dispenza, any of that. Come take a spiritual hike with me in Hawaii. I'm eventually going to be hosting retreats and doing life coaching. So
Wonderful.
read
Well, I
books.
can't wait to hear about the retreats, and who knows, maybe I'll be one of your clients on that.
I would love that.
Well, Nicole, I know we're coming up to time to wrap this up. It has been a wonderful experience to spend this time with you, to get to better understand you and your platform, and how to have a soulful journey, and how it can help you feel aligned, empowered, and deeply connected to your inner light. I hope that our audience has felt inspired and learned a lot about our inspiration behind the legacies that we both lead. Today's message goes to show that true beauty begins within. And when you align your soul through meditation, energy healing, and self love, your outer crown simply reflects your inner light. So I just want to also remind our followers to not forget to follow me on my social media, Miss Elite United USA, or the Zebra Queen. And you can also follow Nicole on several different ways. I'll make sure that it is in the caption so you'll know where to reach her, and you can probably click on the link in some of the platforms that we'll be sharing this podcast. But I want to also verbally say you can find her on the number 6 degrees. That's with an S that leads into soul. So degreessoul.com. On Instagram, she can be found at Hawaii. And on Facebook, she is Pizza Princess 87. That I don't know if I'm following you on Facebook
Yeah,
for
we'll have
that
to
particular.
connect.
Yes, absolutely. And then on YouTube, you can find her at Degree Soul. So thank you again for joining us. If anything resonated with you and you'd like to continue this conversation or be a guest, visit my website at creative, that's CRE, the number 8, TIVEHQ for headquarter.com. And you can reserve to know about any upcoming live events, learn more about the organizations and supporters that we've talked about today. And if today's episode sparked your interest in becoming a legacy maker with the United USA National Pageant System, visit their website at unitedusanationalpageant.com and learn how you can become part of the sisterhood and start your journey to a purpose-driven pageantry experience. So thank you again for tuning in to the Royal Buzz, where you will discover inspiring stories, empowering discussion, and a whole lot of positivity. Bye.
Aloha.